Yeah, so here we are once again. And
Did you start the recording?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because, we be forgetting that sometimes.
Every once in a while. If we're not recording, then, we can just look at the camera anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can go back to recording naked if this thing isn't recording.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that now, though.
Got some sushi cats on my shirt today. Yeah. Had to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, I see. Is that like a delicacy somewhere I don't know about?
I don't know. Probably.
Okay. Or is it like an innuendo?
Probably like a Suicide Squad, Isekai type thing.
Yeah. Speaking of shows I need to go ahead and finish.
I need to start.
Yeah, I would say maybe you need a palate cleanser, but I don't know how much of one that would be.
I've actually been watching back through Game of Thrones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm on season 4 right now. So
nice.
the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
The Over and Martell saga, if you will.
Yeah. Those were good times.
Oh, yeah. We all thought it was going somewhere.
It was until it wasn't,
Right, yeah.
Speaking of like things that I need to get back to watching or finishing, Batman the Caped Crusader.
Also need to start that. Maybe I should watch that in between.
Maybe so, yeah. I started that when it first came out, I guess a couple weeks back. I haven't gotten around to get back around to it, but I need to because, podcasting. And I was able to see the first 2 episodes when they came out. And I really dug it. I'm trying, I really want to see where it goes long term, But you may have heard about the comments that Bruce Timm has made concerning the show, and it has rubbed some people the wrong way. He was asked about the gender swap for the Penguin,
right.
From Oswald to Oswalda, and I guess mild spoiler, but you see Penguin in the first episode of the show, and so you kind of get right out of the gate with Penguin, and I thought it was a good interpretation. We've seen several different versions of all these characters at this point in the game,
right?
But I thought it was good. Would love to see more of this version of the Penguin and what she can do or whatnot. But I dug it. What I didn't dig was his comments.
So what was the comment? Because I haven't seen this. I haven't heard about this.
Yeah, so Bruce Timm says that when asked about why the gender swapped, he said, "Well, Batman just doesn't have a very good rogues gallery." He said that there's just not a lot of good female characters in this rogue gallery, and people were like, "What?" I would argue that he has the best female lineup in his rogue gallery. I think that's a strong argument for that.
That's
why it threw so many people off.
I can't. Who? If not him, then who? I can't even begin to.
Yeah, it was.
That's tough.
Yeah. This is just a rough year for creators speaking out about their work. Whether it be Eric Kripke, who made some very bad remarks about like the boys' commentary.
Yeah. Now, when he was like, "If you don't like it, go fucking watch something else," that's not the bad remark.
Yeah, no, that's not it.
That was great. Yeah. Although you got to be careful because the Acolyte people said something similar to that, and so like people were like, "Cool," and then they turned it off, and the shit got canceled.
Oh, that's right, it did. I saw that. Yeah.
I'm actually I'm mildly pissed about that, to be honest with you. The biggest one, bro. I'm not saying the show was perfect or even that it was amazing. It does have one very bad episode, but it also has quite a bit of like very good episodes. Mm-hmm. But the review bombing, and then like the fact that the media then picked up the review bombing and like ran with it. There was articles where it was talking about how it had a worse user review score than the holiday special, which it did.
Jesus.
And
What you talking about? Worse than the Guardians holiday special?
No,
Because
I mean
that's
than the Star Wars.
Oh, okay. I was afraid that's what you meant.
Yeah, but I mean, it's rough out here. There's a lot of time. Like I feel like here lately, people are when they hire a showrunner, that person their job is, kind of like 40% public relations here lately.
Yeah.
Like they want that person to go out and be the face of the show. And I feel like historically that wasn't the case. Typically it would be the actual like star of the show.
Right.
That you'd want out there. Cause I'll be honest with you. I mean, when CSI was like the shit, I don't ever remember the showrunner being on the news. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. All the seasons of Law and Order, I don't even know what Dick Wolf looks like.
Yeah. Same thing with the Shield. Like, I couldn't pick Sean Ryan out of a lineup. I would imagine he's an older, middle-aged white guy, probably with scruffy hair.
I can see that. Maybe like a scruffy beard, kind of.
Yeah, maybe. He probably looks like he hasn't slept a whole lot.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see how correct we are. I'm curious.
Yeah, I think we're probably pretty close.
Actually, we are.
He has glasses. Does
we're completely
glasses?
wrong. No,
Really?
This motherfucker. This motherfucker looks like the Penguin.
Oh shit! Yeah, he kind of does.
Yeah,
huh?
He definitely looks like he can play the Penguin.
Yeah.
Without that much prosthetics, actually. He got a little scruffy goatee. You were close.
Yeah.
I was wrong about the hair, but I got middle-aged white guy.
You did. You got that. But that was the easy part.
But I definitely wouldn't have, if you'd have been like, which one of these random white people is Sean Ryan, I probably wouldn't have picked that one.
No, not right off bat, no.
Why didn't you just play Vin Mackey himself? I don't know.
All right.
If he looks like that.
Yeah, clearly there's inspiration.
Yeah, I like this guy. I don't know what it is about him, but I like him.
Holy shit.
We are off the rails already.
Already, we're off the rails. Already. Well, we do have a very interesting episode tonight.
Yeah, we do. Anyway, what you heard about this Black Myth Wukong game that just came out?
That's what we're doing, huh?
Yeah.
I have.
You see, it actually broke all these. It's like the all-time player record on Steam.
I heard they had a high player count. I didn't hear anything about that, though.
It's the single-player record.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I really haven't been keeping an eye on that game because I didn't know if it was like another Soulsborne type game or not, and I'm just not interested in one of those right now.
And that's actually what kind of got my interest. I'm pretty sure it is not Souls-like.
Okay.
I think it is an action game, but I think it's a lot more of like a Devil May Cry type thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, I might check that out then.
I'll probably wait till they. I might pirate it. It's a Chinese company. They're kind of predatory. I might pirate that shit.
So guilt free.
They also got into some hot water. They sent out streamers like a email that was like, here's a list of things you can't talk about when you review the product. And one of the things in there was your stream cannot contain feminist propaganda. Yeah. And I was like, this is not going to go over well.
I want to know what that means.
I also want to know what that means.
That reminds me, I'll run this by you off mic. We got another email about an author of superhero-related content who wants to come on. It has to deal with that kind of nature, but I run it by you off mic. I just wanted to say it on mic to you so I wouldn't forget.
Okay.
But yeah, anyways, yeah, that's that is interesting. So no female propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, is that like
feminist propaganda?
Is that like, they're talking about the game? Yeah, the gameplay is cool. I talked to my wife yesterday. She just updated her voter registration. Oh, delisted. I want to know specific details.
Yeah, I need. And here's the problem with this, right? Like, when we don't have specific details or definitions for things like this, then it becomes the next woke. Whereas it meant one thing back in 2016, and now it means something completely different.
Woke is an interesting one, right? This isn't that show, but it's funny how that one got changed twice. Mm-hmm. There was it was originally used by minority communities to mean one thing.
Yeah.
And
watch out for danger. Keep your head on the swivel.
Right. Yeah. Be aware of where you are. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of the type of environment you're in.
Mm-hmm. Be consciously aware.
And then, I'm just gonna say how it is. Then the white people heard it and thought it was cool, and they were like, "We're gonna take this." And then they changed it to mean like enlightened, or like on another level of thought. Which, I'll be honest, even if you are that shit is pretentious as fuck.
Yeah, it is. Even when it first started to be used in that context, I'm like, man, that sounds cunty.
Yeah, I mean, even if you study any kind of like, like Buddhism or even something that's not religious, just like, anything that teaches like meditation or introspectives or anything like that. Nobody who has attained a higher level of enlightenment feels the need to rub it in people's faces.
Right.
That means you haven't attained it. Letting go of the ego is like a central tenet of that,
One of the big parts, right?
Yeah. And so if you feel the need to do that shit, then you clearly haven't paid attention to anything. And then it got co-opted again to just mean anything that the right wingers don't like.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's something that they are tired of seeing or hearing, or if it just goes against whatever they like, or if they don't like it, then it's woke.
Anything to the left of hunting the homeless for sport is woke now. We've probably got kicked down the algorithm just for saying it this many times.
Probably. I also used the word cunt earlier, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that probably also did it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But see, I figure like those two things can counterbalance the other.
Yeah. So speaking of cunts, earlier I was talking to somebody about like how like expensive all the streaming services are, and we've talked about this, and I was like, yeah, man, like if I didn't have Disney Plus through like my cell phone, like through my cell phone plan, I probably wouldn't have that shit, to be honest.
I'm thinking about getting rid of it for the third time. Like,
yeah.
I use Caliplex streaming service more than anything. It's just because like now that Disney has ads that actively play on everything, I'm like, I can't do this. I was trying to watch, was it Guardians? Days of Future Past. And because I was too lazy to get up and pipe in the DVD. I was like, I'll just see what's on Disney.
Do they have the road cut on
They don't even have that on there now.
Yeah, I didn't think they did.
Yeah, so it's a good thing I did get up.
Yeah.
But I just hit the play button on that, and I was like, oh, okay. And then the fucking ad comes up, and I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah, that's actually kind of why I'm watching through Game of Thrones right now. Is like I canceled my Max after House of the Dragon.
Oh.
Because like that shit is so expensive now. It's like $21 a month if you want the 4K. Which, the funny thing is, I actually subscribed to Max for years, right? Mm-hmm. I had the $15.99 plan. That gave me
that.
Huh?
I thought it was still that price. Has it gone
well, so what they did is they changed it to where if you want the 4K, then you have to pay for the super premium plan. So I was like, listen, I can watch this shit in 1080p for free. So the only reason for me to pay you is if I can get this 4K content so it looks ultra mega crisp. Because I didn't buy a ballin' ass TV to watch non-4K things on it when I have the option. And so I canceled that shit. I was like, I'll when House of the Dragon comes on, I'll renew and then I'll just cancel immediately, which is what I did. So like, but I have time left on the end of the month, so I'm just trying to watch back through Game of Thrones real quick.
Yeah.
While I have the thing still, but I had just been like, Netflix is the only streamer that's consistently worth having. I mean, people have Prime, but not for. Right. And honestly, they actually did get some extra money out of me. I paid the extra to get rid of their ads. I cannot deal with those ads on Prime Video.
Bro, that shit is rough. You know what? The bougiest thing that I've done in recent history, in recent memory, I pay for YouTube Red. Because I watch a lot of YouTube and I refuse to sit through ads.
Yeah, I actually, I have YouTube Red, but I have it because I I have, I use my Google Drive a lot, so I have like the expanded storage.
Yeah,
and I have the one that comes with the YouTube Red as well.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm not paying specifically for it, but I'm with you. Like I will pay extra to get rid of ads. I fucking hate them.
Yeah.
And it's like the worst thing ever too. Like if like somebody comes over, you're like, oh yeah, let me show you this thing, and then you gotta sit through 5 minutes of fucking ads.
Fucking hell.
But I had just gotten it out of my mouth earlier that like, yeah, man, Netflix is like the only streamer that's like consistently worth having. I've had my Netflix subscription since the day I got it.
Same.
I've probably been subscribed to Netflix as long as you can subscribe to fucking Netflix.
Right.
And when they go up in price, I'll be like, and then I keep it, because it's consistently worth it. Now, in like 2 years when it's like $50, I have to revisit that shit. But, once a year I get that, we going up $1, $2. And I'm like, okay, well, just keep bringing me the stuff. But I had just gotten that shit out of my mouth. And then I turn on my TV, and the first thing on Netflix is the new Matt Rife special. And I was like, for the first time, I'm thinking about canceling this shit.
Oh, so you're not a fan of old Mr. Matt Rife?
No, I think he's fucking terrible. As a matter of fact, Netflix also knows he's terrible because he came out with that comedy special a while back, and it was awful. And so, everybody was like, well, he got exposed. Like, literally all his little TikTok clips is just him doing crowd work. So the new special is just 90 minutes of him doing crowd work. Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know shit about the guy.
Have you watched the Netflix special?
No.
Yeah, I challenge you to watch that shit, and then every time you chuckle, take a drink. You won't even have broken the seal off of the bottle.
Damn.
Yeah, that shit was not funny at all.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's a bunch of like very like misogynist kind of jokes. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not like the joke police type person, but like some shit just isn't funny, you know what I mean? And I just don't find it funny. So, but that like it just wasn't. And some of it was that, and some of it was just like these jokes aren't about that, but they still aren't funny. So
damn.
And also, speaking of canceling Netflix, we have the thing we're planning on reviewing tonight.
Well, also, it's a part of this extended cold open because I know how anxious you are to talk about.
I'm really not, folks. I'm having a blast being here tonight. Yeah.
So I don't know how this flew under the radar for me. I mean, obviously, you guys all know that Umbrella Academy is based on the comic book by Gerard Way of the same name.
What?
But what I did not know was that Amazon is actually producing a comic book based TV show based on a comic book that I ranted and raved about just a couple short years ago called Criminal. It's an Ed Brubaker story. There's if you guys have the books, there are 3 deluxe editions. Actually, the deluxe editions were so popular that they sold out. As a matter of fact, I think if you try to find them today, you might be able to get them off of eBay for an exorbitant amount of money. So I guess I lucked up.
Amazon? Is it animated?
No, live action.
Ooh, 50-50.
50-50, yep.
I was like, if it's animated, this shit's about to be awesome.
So, on one hand, I'm like, it's starring Charlie Hunnam, and I typically like that guy and everything I see him in.
Okay.
And I think he'd be a great fit for this style of show. It also does have Emilia Clarke in it, and I like Emilia Clarke, but her agent never seems to. Yeah. So I'm kind of, I don't know which way this show is gonna go, but what I can say is that the comic book is amazing. Criminal, it's in a realistic setting like New York City, basically, and it is like a grittier, more serious, long form version of Pulp Fiction. So it's different characters in different scenarios, all in this shared world, and at times it'll be like the old man who's like a background character in this story. 8 chapters later is the main character, but that's a younger version of himself back in the day. And they do a lot of things like that in Criminal. So it's very well written, very tight, very concise, and it's just a great story. So I'm curious to see what Amazon can do with it.
Yeah, if it's Amazon, see, the odds are not good for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Vegas odds ain't good because it's live action Amazon, and that already. I mean, I was being very generous with 50-50. Okay, then it's got Emilia Clarke in it, and presumably no dragons.
yeah. No, if a dragon shows up, then it's a kind of drug.
Yeah, so the odds are not good,
Right.
for this. Right. I thought Emilia Clarke was fantastic in Secret Invasion. The writing was poor. Mm-hmm. Like, I think she played the character super well. As a matter of fact, maybe she's in Thunderbolts, and that's how they're planning on fighting the Sentry. Because there's just a fucking Mega Skrull out here that has Thanos, the Dark Order, and every fucking... It's the Black Order, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Dark Order is the AEW guys.
That's true, yeah. She's got their powers, too.
She got their powers, too.
Yeah.
And then all the Avengers.
Yeah, I wonder if the writers thought about what they did when they just threw that together.
Yeah, how are you just going to leave that thread hanging?
Right. Yeah. And also, it's like, you guys knew you were doing Fantastic Four, and you just poo-pooed on Super Skrull.
Yeah.
There's that part, too.
Well, maybe she's going to come back and be like a villain.
You know, the character that she plays is a villain in the comic books, but I don't think they'll go that direction.
No, me neither. People love Emilia Clarke.
Yeah. It'd be hard to see her as as a villain type character. I don't know, man. The more I think about Secret Invasion, the more it gives me a sad headache.
You know, it's crazy because, you know, like I said, I've been watching back through Game of Thrones, and it's hard to imagine anybody else playing Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah.
She was tremendous in that. Mm-hmm. Even to the point where I think in House of the Dragon, I think to some extent, almost all the Targaryen characters are kind of aping her, you know? Like they obviously have all studied her work.
Yeah.
I mean, and they need to, you know? She kind of defined in live action what a Targaryen should be.
Yeah. Yeah, she did.
But yeah, like her screen presence in that is just, it's on another level. Not everybody can pull that shit off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, let's keep it a buck, though. If HBO wants to pay me $2 million an episode and wants me to be naked, I can do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll learn how to speak Dothraki and everything.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know about that High Valyrian, though. Some of those pronunciations.
I can say I want make war in High Valyrian. Yeah.
I was actually, this is random as fuck, but since we're dragging this out. Hey, I got to the part where they take all the slave collars and use the catapults to shoot them into the marine, you know? And when she tells them to launch the catapults, the translation was fire. But she doesn't say Dracarys. She says something else.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so those are clearly two different,
right?
Like Ruh fire and Cuckoo fire are two different things in High Valyrian. That's weird, though. You know?
Well, is it?
Maybe it's just odd because it's not in our language. Like in our language, they're the same word. They just mean different things.
Because I can imagine in languages, that exist today, they probably don't use the same word for fire and fire. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, hell, they also probably use the same word for fire as in heat, fire as in shoot, and then fire as in this podcast
is fire. What? We need the air horn.
I keep saying I'm going to get an air horn button, but it's probably for the best I don't, because I won't stop pressing it.
That's true. Speaking of, we won't stop pressing it. I guess we won't blue balls you guys anymore.
That's right. Proper introductions are in order, though. So, homies, one and all, I would like to welcome you back to a very special, heartfelt episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I am here with my loving, caring, wonderful friend, the homie Caleb.
He's just trying to butter me up because he knows I don't want to be here today. Speaking of not wanting to be here, are we still going to see The Crow on Friday?
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you if you were coming to that because I know you had a con.
Yeah, I got a con on Saturday, but you also know that I'm in it to win it. So
hell yeah.
You ain't got to get ready if you stay ready. I heard that from a good friend. So.
Hey, that is true. I hear that is true.
So I am down like a clown in Pound Town to go.
It's funny. Those tickets just became available today. I just checked to see if they were available like an hour ago.
Gotcha.
The Crow currently does not have a GTX screening.
I saw that. Well, obviously, Alien Romulus is making bank. So.
Yeah, which I still need to go see that my damn self.
I know.
And
we should just do a double.
Hey, don't fucking tempt me with a good time. I'm off Saturday, so I can be up all night. But also at the time, there were only there were no seats taken.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I feel so bad because I really like Bill Skarsgård. I think he's a tremendous actor. And, The Crow is a cult classic movie, and just trying to remake it, man, they're going to have a hard time.
What do you think? Let's call it right now, and then we will stop blue balls and you guys. What do you think is going to do worse, The Crow or Borderlands?
I don't see how I can do worse than Borderlands.
You saw that Borderlands is already hitting digital this month?
I saw that.
That shit's hitting digital 10 fucking days after it hit theaters.
Borderlands did so poorly that at, Gamescom, just today, Gearbox announced Borderlands 4, and it just, it's not even a teaser, bro. It's just a planet, and then someone picks up a psycho mask,
Oh, God.
It just felt like they were trying to get ahead of the negative press from the movie.
It's bad. Obviously there's been negative adaptations of things. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge fan of the Inheritance cycle, which is Christopher Paolini's book series that most people know by the first book, which is Aragon. And it has, to this day, the worst adaptation of anything I've ever seen. But, so signing over the Hollywood paycheck is not always worth it.
Right.
Not when you drive your IP into the ground. And what does Gearbox have if they tank Borderlands?
Nothing.
It'd be like, if Bungie tanked
Destiny,
which, they did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, apparently they still release content for that game, Destiny.
Yeah, but it's doing terribly. Yeah.
I can imagine, yeah. So much for that 10-year plan they had going on.
Yeah, we don't need to make this a video game podcast.
No, we don't. We really don't.
If you want us to do an episode about just random video game shit, let us know. We'll do it.
Yeah, hit us up, and we'll definitely do that. Speaking of hitting us up, I need to do this more often, but if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
That helps the good old algorithm to see us. And for all you lazy fucks out there who haven't left a review for the podcast yet, go ahead and do that. We still love you, just not as much as the other homies.
Right? Yeah. They're just on another level.
Yeah, that's all.
And if you're really feeling, up to the task, if you feel the call of the Homie Supremes, go and check out our MCU rankings and make your own list and send it in because we'd love to check it out.
Yes, we would. So you better check it twice because we will.
We may even tell you why you're wrong.
If you're fortunate enough, we will tell you why you're wrong.
We're going to get somebody with fucking Quantumania at 1.
See, all right. Any troll list will not be tolerated.
Yeah, this is a serious matter.
That's right. I better not see Quantumania nowhere near the top 40.
Yeah. Okay, well, we've done this long enough. Nice 30-minute cold open.
Yep.
We're here today, folks, to review none other than the latest season of Umbrella Academy. Full spoilers for the entire show. If you haven't seen it, I envy you. And if you have seen it, then stick around and see if we agree with you on the show or not. But yeah, this is your official spoiler warning. So if you have not seen the show and don't want to get spoiled, then leave now. Otherwise, you about to get spoiled.
About to get spoiled like a motherfucker. So, just really quick elevator pitch. For those of you who just like to listen to our voice, again, we appreciate you guys, but you have no idea what Umbrella Academy is. Turn on Netflix and you'll definitely see it there. But it is a comic book based off, or it is based on a comic book written by Gerard Way.
And you have some of them here?
Yeah, I have everything that's released so far, which is actually what I want to talk about tonight.
Nah, it looks like there's only 3 of these.
Yeah, there's only 3 of those there. And oddly enough, book 1 is called Apocalypse Suite, and that is what season 1 is based on.
And then we have
Book
Dallas.
2, called Dallas, which is what season 2 is based on.
And then we have one I'm very fond of, Hotel Oblivion,
which is what season 3 is based on. What we don't have is a book 4.
What in the George R.R. Martin?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I kind of had the similar thoughts. So it was, as soon as I finished watching the show, I thought that maybe I wasn't doing my due diligence in keeping up with Umbrella Academy comic books, because I know that about a year or maybe 2 years ago, Gerard Way announced that he is doing book 4. And so I went on my Googles to see what the status was and if I can go ahead and buy it. And it's not out. Not only is it not out, but there hasn't been any updates. Not only is it not out and there has not been any updates, but apparently Gerard is currently on tour with My Chemical Romance. So if you guys want Umbrella Academy season 4, book 4, then you might just have to bug the shit out of him. But apparently there was also a really long layoff between books 2 and 3. Now, I don't know how long of a layoff. I've heard as long as 10 years is what it took him to do book 3, Hotel Oblivion. I don't know if that's true, though. But I say all that to say this. The first 3 seasons of the show seemed like they had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And they were going somewhere. The story was structured. The characters had motives and purpose. This is what happens when you have a strong source material to go off of, a la Game of Thrones. We've seen what happens when you don't have a secure source material to go off of, a la Game of Thrones.
Or Rings of Power.
And when you just try to start freestyling this shit, a lot of the times, most of the time, it does not go well. And I think we can safely say that is what happened with good old Umbrella Academy. They have no book 4 to base their material on.
Does book 3 end similarly to the way season 3 ended with the whole reset thing?
Yeah. Oddly enough, book 3, it does end with like a slight reset, like it does in the show, but it also ends with them meeting Sparrow Academy, which that is how season 2 ends.
Right.
So they took kind of the ending of book 3 and kind of split that into both seasons. Yeah.
Which, a minor change like that, if they wanted, I really liked the Sparrow Academy angle.
I was going to say, to me, it makes sense because the Sparrow Academy, to me, they were kind of weak in season 3. And to me, that makes sense because we don't have one panel of them in the comics. You know?
What was one of them was just like a dust cloud or something?
Yeah.
That shit was funny. I like the dance off.
I did too. Yeah. I love the opening for season 3.
All of that was tremendous, but that might be the only time I say tremendous tonight in reference to Umbrella Academy because, man, as you already know from our kind of commentary off my, when we go to watch a movie like on opening night or something, typically we don't discuss it at all until we get on the show. For something like a long form TV show, we typically will kind of gauge how each other's thinking about it. I just watched episode 2. I saw the thing happen, and you'll be like, yeah, man, that was cool, or whatever. But did any of the text messages that we exchanged during me watching this show, did any of them make you feel like I wanted to finish it?
Not at all. and here's the funny part about it. I finished the show before you did, right? And as soon as I finished it, I thought, oh no. Like, Caleb is going to hate this. And by the way, I didn't care for it either. I thought that it was very poor. As a matter of fact, if I could just say this, When the show ended, I actually felt a bit of sorrow because I really grown to love this show. I've grown to love these characters, and in the words of Boys to Men, it's so hard to say goodbye. But I was upset though because I know that this show could do so much better than what it gave us. I don't feel like they even tried.
Listen, we've talked at length, and I talked a little bit on our last episode about this. We've talked at length about how much I hate the Star Wars sequel trilogy, right? However, you've never ever heard me say, I wish they just hadn't made it at all, right? Because as much as I hate certain aspects of it, if they didn't ever make it at all, we never get to see Luke Skywalker again.
Yeah.
We never get to see Han Solo again. We never get to see Chewbacca again. Never get to see Leia Organa again. 2 out of those 4 characters actually had a decent showing, you know? Mandalorian aside,
yeah.
You know, we because like that's the only time we got real true Luke.
Yeah. Which wasn't real Luke, so it's even funnier.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, well,
it was
close enough. Yeah,
shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, Sebastian Stan is just a clone
That's
Mark
true.
Hamill anyway. They're just trying to. They haven't cast him because they want to cover that shit up.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to pin him twice.
The only thing that happened is like whoever did the cloning, you know, it's only like 95% accurate. So like his voice acting talent didn't get carried over at all.
That's an important 5%.
It is, yeah, yeah. Very. It was a bad dice roll.
Imagine him as the Joker, voicing the Joker. Haha, Batman.
Haha, Batman. I have you now.
God damn.
They'll come for you, Batman. They will hunt you down like an animal.
Yeah. All right. Cut. Sebastian. You know that you're voicing the Joker, right?
Yes, I know. Yeah. Here, let me try another part of the script.
Okay.
We'll go to another part of the script
all
here.
Right.
You lost control, and they're going to kill you for it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, cut, Sebastian. We know that you're a Marvel guy, you know, primarily working as Winter Soldier. Do you know who the Joker is?
Right. Yeah. Is this your first experience? But all this to say, in a very long form roundabout way here, is that I've never wished they didn't make the sequels. I don't like them at all. I think they are absolute rubbish. There may be, out of those 3 movies that are probably, they feel very long. I'm just going to say that maybe there's 8 hours of movie there between the 3 of them. Feels like 14 or so, but there might be 12 to 15 minutes of things I enjoyed in that. I've never been like, I wish they didn't make it.
Yeah.
With this, I wish they had never made this season. I would delete it from the universe if I could. Like,
I'm with you.
Season 3 was it was a little open ended, you know, but like the ending to season 3 is, there's nothing in season 4 that is worth changing that in any way. Just end it right then.
I think leave it open ended for sure, right, with season 3, but also because you could leave it open ended with season 3, you can wait for Gerard to drop book 4, and then you got something to go off of.
But they didn't want to do that.
I know.
You know, and I'll be honest with you. Other than Klaus, the cast. Well, you know what? I will say my opinions changed on this a little bit. I will say that Klaus and Five are reliably themselves. They definitely carry the show. Although with Five, it's like they're just playing the hits with him in this. He doesn't go anywhere we haven't seen him. He literally goes everywhere we have seen him.
Yeah.
You know? They literally regurgitate his same fucking Man at a Time story. I think I liked Lila in this season more than I've ever liked her. I will give it that.
Oh, I feel the opposite.
Yeah?
I hated her more than I've ever hated her in this
Wow.
show. Yeah.
See, I never liked her to begin with, so... But I've always hated Diego, and I thought he was awful in this.
He's my favorite.
Oh my God, I have always hated number one. They should have got Sean Legacy to play him.
They do kind of resemble, huh?
Yeah, like it's uncanny.
It is
how much they resemble each other actually. But Sean is more ripped, not than the CG'd up version.
Right,
but
right.
I hated him immensely in this season, way more than I normally do. Allison, I thought they had nothing at all for her.
They had nothing for any of the characters except for Ben.
Yeah, and Victor doesn't even feel like the same character.
Right, and I'm like, I know there's been a bit of a time jump since the end of season 3. What, they say 2 years?
Yeah.
But man, it didn't feel. It felt like none of these characters resembled who they were at all from previous seasons.
Yeah,
like,
other than 5 and Klaus, I would say.
Yeah, 5 and Klaus. Like,
but with both of them, they do what we were just talking about. They just rehash the same things. There's no arc. There's no growth.
And like we can kind of take this character by character here. One of the characters that you mentioned fared better, Klaus. I mean, again, I don't think I've actively disliked any characters on the show. And Klaus has always been a reliable one for me. But even this season, what he did, none of it was of importance.
No.
He has this whole other side quest that comes out of fucking nowhere, and it leads nowhere.
Yeah.
It's just screen time.
Yeah.
Like, well, we've got to have Klaus on the screen, so let's give him something to do.
Yeah, they literally just wrote a let's have Klaus do Klaus things subplot for him.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I understand it. Like, you didn't have anything else for anybody to stay tuned for it. Like, at a bare minimum, get the Klaus fans.
Mm-hmm.
I think Klaus is okay. Like, honestly, if you are just a Klaus stan and the Klaus plots are your favorite parts of this show, by all means, you might enjoy this season a little bit. You'll at least get something. But that's not me, Like, I enjoy him, but he's not why I watch the show. So.
Well, and it's also like, even before when he would go on like his own random kind of shenanigans, it would tie back into the main plot.
Right.
In some fashion.
This time, that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. And like, again, he fares better because at least he gets a side plot.
Yeah.
But even still, it doesn't go anywhere.
And then there's just a, like, Deus Ex Machina to get him out of it and bring him back to the main. Because it's really funny, right? Like, it's like they wrote the ending first, which, fuck. If you guys really wrote that first and you came in every day and went, yeah, we'll go with that.
That's good.
Holy hell. But it's like they wrote the ending first, and then they just started writing all this other shit. And then about halfway through the finale, they went, oh, shit, we need them all in the same place.
Yeah. Yeah, man. This shit was wild and in the not good way. So then we have Allison, Rumor. Her plot is... Yeah, so she's living her best life, getting paid work as an actor, you know what I mean? Not easy. And yeah, I mean, so she has that one scene, right, in episode 1 of this season where she runs into Luther again, and there's that awkward history there, and then we get to never revisit that again, and then she has the plot with Klaus, and the biker dude,
right?
And she gets to save Klaus, and her daughter's growing up. That's Allison's plot.
and there's this really weird subplot with Claire, right, where like she's never known Klaus to be Klaus, you know, who he really is. Mm-hmm. And so, like, in the way that she's grown up is like, Allison obviously is riddled with guilt from her shit from season 3. Mm-hmm. We never see that.
Nope.
She just shows up looking like she smokes 4 packs a day. And she's like, yeah, you know, Klaus stole the TV, sold it for drugs or whatever. And Claire is like, Mom, he must have had a reason to take the TV. Maybe he's going to get it repaired.
Right.
Or, you know, because Klaus is probably the only reliable person in that girl's life, which is horrifying.
Terrible.
Yeah. I'm California sober.
God damn. Luther, I guess he forgot that he had a wife. And do they ever mention her?
Yeah, he mentions her at one point. He's like, she would have liked something.
Okay, my problem even with that, at the end of season 3, he's like, I gotta go find her.
And they never revisit that at all.
Never. Listen, if you couldn't get the same actress, I wouldn't have remembered.
No, I couldn't tell you what she looks like right now. I'll be honest, he just never even seemed like Luther to me. I mean,
I felt that way in season 3.
Yeah, he was like really goofy in season 3, and then it's worse here.
It is.
It's like season 3 Ragnarok, season 4 Love and Thunder.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
The Ragnaroking.
The Ragnaroking. I know you noticed this, and I know the people who made this show noticed this, and I don't know why they did this. I know you saw the Winter Soldier. You want to call it an Easter egg reference that they put in here?
Yes.
Okay. What you think about it?
I thought it was absolute garbage. They didn't even do the reference well.
I know.
They just got in the elevator.
It's like if that scene would have been fine as it was if Winter Soldier never existed.
Yeah.
You know, it would have been, oh, okay, cool. He, theater of mind, he beat him up in the elevator, and then, but the way that this was done, it wasn't close enough to say they're paying homage.
No.
But it wasn't done creatively enough to say that they weren't.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't good at all. As a matter of fact, I actually really hate... So, I'll be honest, I started to perk up a little bit when Fives tells the CIA boss, hey, I need you to just fucking give my brothers some shit to do to make them feel important while I go handle some actual shit. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, this is going to be great. I hated every second of that shit. Because, number one, it was all so predictable. I don't mind predictable. I'm not somebody that's like, oh my God, I have to be shocked every time I watch something because we've seen where that fucking goes. Yeah. And I don't want to go there. I didn't want to be here either. Their fight in the CIA was awful. Especially at the end when they're like, we're back, we got it. I'm like, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also, the fight in the CIA office didn't really make much sense when you think about they vaguely mentioned the fact that when they get their powers back, they get them back, but they're tweaked, like they're altered.
Yeah.
And we even see Diego a couple episodes earlier deflect a bunch of bullets,
which was cool.
But in this scene, we don't get anything like that.
No, he actually misses all the shit he throws at people,
which was fucking weird.
Right, because that's what he does. He throws things at people.
Yeah, like you fucking bullseye,
Yeah,
like you're supposed to hit everything.
It made no sense whatsoever. Like every single person's powers were just whatever the plot needed them to be. Like with Victor can sit there and just unload in like a Broly rage on Hargreaves.
Yeah.
And he just wiggles and looks uncomfortable, like he got a shit. Not a scratch on him. Even his clothes aren't torn.
Right.
But then later on, she just turns and melts a dude's face off. Like his whole head, actually. Yeah. Instantly.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? You could tell that they didn't know what to do with any of these characters almost especially Victor, because he is. I mean, he's the powerhouse.
Yeah.
that they never knew they had until season 1, and then they're like, oh shit, Victor does have a power.
Yeah, blowing up the moon.
Yeah. And with here, it was just like, okay, and my thing is like, okay, from a power standpoint, they don't know how to handle this character,
Right.
but also from like an interpersonal standpoint, they didn't know what to do with Victor. Why was Victor so attached to Ben?
Right. It's not like they had any sort of... Like, if anybody was going to be attached to Ben, it should have been Klaus.
Yeah, because Klaus was the one that at least communicated with dead Ben for all those years.
And even so, this isn't that Ben.
Yeah, it's
this
not
is
even
Sparrow
the same.
Ben.
Yeah, it's evil. It's evil goatee Ben without the goatee.
And yeah, that's the thing is like they just thought that Ben was all of a sudden going to become this character that we felt remorse for. Like he was going to just all of a sudden be this character that we cared about.
They could have done that.
They could have, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Like they just have him be a complete mindless asshole until the plot needs him to not be that.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we're supposed to feel bad for him.
I do wonder, is this really truly another case of like George Martin, where like did Gerard Way like give them notes? It's like what his next book was gonna be like.
Oh my God.
And then they're like, oh, we can do this.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The principle of the ending, like the concept of this ending, doesn't piss me off the way the Game of Thrones does. Like this whole idea that like all the timelines are because their dad brought the marigold here and created them. I can buy that. Like to me, that makes sense. But the way that they went about this, Jennifer, what the fuck? We found this girl in a big ass squid.
Yep.
She contains this element that's like the opposite of the marigold element, the Durango element. They never really explain this at all.
None.
It just pops up. Nobody ever heard of this girl or anything about this girl.
No.
At all.
And apparently her powers never manifested.
Right. And she was in the news and everything,
Apparently her life has been like the Truman Show as well.
Yeah. Also, the thing that was probably the worst plot device to me out of all of it, and there were many. Like if I had to rank them, we would be here all night. Is the actual where they show what happened to Ben. And I actually was kind of hyped to see that because they were like, that's one of the actual lingering mysteries of the show is nobody's ever like explicitly even hinted at what really happened to Ben.
Yeah.
Oh my God, was that unsatisfying? Like, he climbs out of the tank with her, and Hargreaves just rolls up and shoots them both. Motherfucker, if you were standing right there, number one, why did you send them in here?
Right.
If you knew that, like, she had this apocalyptic element that could only bond with your kids.
Yeah. Why would you send them on the mission?
Send them on the mission.
Yeah.
Especially if you were going to come yourself.
Yeah.
And then, number two, like, if you were just going to kill him, like, why didn't you stop him from going in? It doesn't make any sense. Like, why he was there.
No, it really doesn't, right? Because like you said, he knows that this apocalyptic thing can happen if those two in particular, Ben and Jen, if they come in contact.
I also never understood why it was Ben specifically.
They never really...
It's like, it should have been any of them, right? Because as long as the two elements, like the marigold and the Durango combine, then it shouldn't matter.
Is it because Ben's power had to do with the tentacles coming out of his chest, right?
Yeah, but...
Is that like a weird kind of...
Yeah, he actually mentions it at one point. He's like, we belong together, because I had the tentacles and like, you came out of that squid. And I'm like, okay.
Dog, that's going to be my next pickup line.
Yeah. I mean, it worked.
It worked. Yeah. That shit worked like a motherfucker. Also, how could you buy into their relationship? it also, Ben and Jen, is this the play on Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe so, but I'm going to tell you right now, Jennifer had about as much to do as Tatiana Paris had to do in the Marvels.
Oh, god damn. I think she had less. Actually.
Yeah, I think it was less. Because at least she got to exposit.
Yeah, she got to exposit.
Jen just kind of is there.
She's just there, and then she's a glob monster.
Nick Offerman is in the season.
He is Nick Offerman and his wife, and I don't want to just refer to her as
his wife.
That's his wife.
That is disrespectful.
That is very disrespectful. Her lady has her own career, and god damn, what was her name? Well, while I look for that, David Cross is also heavily featured in this season as well.
Oh yeah, the comedian.
Yeah.
Which I did recognize him and did like.
Yeah. Megan Mullally.
Oh, well, that's quite a name.
It is. She will be referred to here as Megan.
Wow. You know?
Yeah. So I'll admit, like, seeing them really had me intrigued in the beginning because, like, who are these two? Like, what are they up to? What really do they know? And in the beginning, I liked the concept of, like, the Mandela effect, but with the Umbrella Academy.
Yes.
You know?
The Mandela effect.
Didn't they call it the Umbrella effect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Umbrella effect.
So, you know, I even thought that was kind of a cool touch as well, you know. But the way that just kind of goes, by the time we get to the finale, I didn't understand how it became like this huge secret cult, especially when everyone has that same tattoo on their wrist.
It made no sense at all. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the point plot-wise of the CIA guys being involved with the cult?
No idea.
Like,
no idea.
There was no, like, they could have not been in the cult and it played out the exact same way.
Is this like when you find out Obama's a Freemason, or that all the presidents were Freemasons? Is that like the same thing?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It is something else. It's like they maybe had 10 episodes and then they like cut out all of where they explain everything.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Everybody has vague powers, and we hate vague powers.
Very much so. Especially, we're 4 seasons in. You know what all their powers are.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing where, like, they get slipped the marigold and just magically have their powers back, and then their powers are slightly different to accommodate the plot. Lila's power is that she can take other people's powers. She has, like, the rogue thing, but it's wireless, and she doesn't hurt the person. It's an upgraded rogue power.
Right.
That got you, didn't it?
It did.
Like
wireless rogue.
It's wireless rogue. And, yeah, I mean, but she also just has eye beams.
For one, isn't it just one scene?
No. She does it again later.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm. She does it in the end fight with, well, I guess you could call that a fight with the cleanse.
Yeah. Well, if that's what you want to call it.
I was intrigued by Gene and Gene.
Me too.
But it's a big old nothing burger.
Big old nothing burger with all the toppings on it.
Was Hargreaves' wife, was his name Sal in the show? Cy. David Cross's character.
Oh, yeah.
Cy?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was she him the whole time?
Couldn't have been. Because if she was him the whole time, then, well, I guess this could be the case. But then, like, the whole plot with him getting them together in the first place makes even less sense.
I thought she was trying to bring the cleanse on.
Well, yeah, she was, but
yeah.
But then it's like...
And so she would have known about the town.
Yeah.
And that Hargreaves was holding her there.
Yeah.
So I think it was meant to be her the whole time.
Maybe, but wouldn't that mean that she killed that guy at some point?
Yeah. I mean, she killed him at some point anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, is it like I never really understood, like, is it does she have like a scroll type thing, or does she have to kill him? Because everybody we see her imitate, except him, we see her kill.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, because we see that she wears a face. So it's got to be a case of her killing the person.
Like the Faceless Man type deal from like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Except somehow even more gross.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. I won't pretend to fully understand this plot because the people who wrote it don't fully understand this plot. So how could I?
They clearly don't. They're not interested in actually telling any sort of coherent story here. The Fives and Lila thing, the time travel montage. I guess like
okay. Again, I have to ask, like, for what?
For what? It's all so he can get to the Citadel of Fives.
Yeah,
which is just a diner where everyone is a random fives. Mm-hmm. It's the Citadel of Ricks, but not cool.
Yes, exactly what it is, man. It's like Rick and Morty beat you guys to this by like 5 years.
Yeah, it was, and it didn't feel inventive here in any way. It didn't feel cool here in any way.
No.
It's like they were grasping so hard for Rule of Cool through this whole season, but they didn't have it.
No.
It was like, well, we don't have any of the other commandments.
Yep.
But if we just pour everything into Rule of Cool, we'll be okay.
We can make something.
But as we recently discovered, and I coined this, the thing about Rule of Cool is it has to be cool.
It's got to be cool.
And it's not.
No.
I have to talk about this.
Okay.
In episode 2, there is a fucking extended Baby Shark joke. They play that fucking song 4 times in the season.
They really do.
The first time they play it, it's not funny. It would be like if they did an extended Rickroll joke. Although that is classic enough to where it would have been way funnier. Like if you subbed that in, I probably would have thought it was neat the first time.
A D's nuts joke would have been funnier.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm not gonna lie, those still get me.
Yeah.
I'm immature.
Yeah, right. Same. Yeah. We both are South Park level humor, okay? The early seasons.
Right.
I prefer the later, but I will still laugh at the old ones. If you want to give me an extended water park metaphor, I'm all for it. I'll think it's funny and intelligent and all that other shit. But if you want to show me a satellite dish growing out of Eric Cartman's ass,
Right,
I will also laugh at that.
same.
If you want to see people use Worcestershire sauce as embalming fluid and it turn people into zombies, I will still laugh at that shit.
Yeah, the baby shark bit, again, it left me baffled because I was like, I literally questioned, what year is this season taking place in? And like nothing led me to believe that it was 2018, so I assumed it takes place in 2024.
Every time they played it after the first time, like the first time they played it, I was kind of flabbergasted that they thought that this was going to get over. But then every time that they did it after that, I just got unreasonably angry.
Yeah.
Especially when they do the montage of everybody puking in the van. But the van doesn't have any puke in it after that.
Clearly they pulled over and cleaned it up, right?
No. No, they didn't. And then also, I also want to talk about the fact that Gene and Gene hit them, and they're in like that old ass van, that's actually made out of like metal.
Right.
And then Gene and Gene hit them with their sedan, and there's not a scratch on this fucking car.
Yeah.
But the van just goes flying, and they T-boned it.
I mean, okay, dog. So, like, that van had a special kind of armor called plot.
Ah.
Yeah.
I see. I'm familiar with this.
So are they.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the armor that was traditionally given out at the Battle for Winterfell.
Yeah, an armor that typically no one in that show had.
Yeah.
Until then.
Yeah, it was discovered then.
Yeah.
It was discovered that night.
Right, yeah.
The night is dark and full of plot armors.
God damn. Yeah. When I think about, like, Diego in this show, because I know you've always hated him, but he's always been my favorite. And I think he's always been my favorite in both, like, the comics and the TV show, because he's the most traditional vigilante grounded kind of guy. And in this season, I mean, there's no other way to explain it. Like, they cuck him out.
Yeah.
And, like, he's a shell of the man he was in, like, every regard. And even though he celebrates with Luther, I'm like, bro, you never get anything back.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have it, bro. Like, you've also been relegated to, like, being an idiot and you know, just being kind of out of the loop on everything. And, you know, you found out that your brother and your wife have been shacking up for who knows how long. And your response is nothing.
I mean, technically, he's as related to her as he is to him.
Oh, okay, but it's different if you are raised as my brother.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not justifying it all. Like, I understand why Lila and them did it, because I mean, they were down there for 6 years before they started doing shit. Diego can be mad if he wants, but everybody would have done the same thing in that situation. Like, you're lost in a time vortex and you have no idea if you're ever going to make it back. After 6 years, it's just me and another person. It don't matter if I found them sexually attractive at the beginning of that 6 years.
Right.
Because, like, I don't think Lila's attractive at all, but after six years, she...
I ain't gonna lie, for me, it won't take that long.
Right, yeah. Yeah, after, like, 1 year, I'm tearing up the sugar walls if she's up for it.
Yeah, facts. I'm like, look, girl, it's either me or that rat over there, and I think you want to choose me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right, yeah.
But you know, you are right on that, and I do agree. Like, you know, at that point, you got to understand they were in a position where they didn't know if they were ever going to come back. But it's how they handled it. It's really just what throws me over the edge.
Well, the show doesn't take any time to process anything.
Yeah.
This included. They come back, and literally they decide they all need to go off and get killed, like, within 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes of them coming back.
True.
It's like, literally, they come back, and, like, Fives is just like, yeah, so, we've been fucking. Anyway, look, I think we all got to go and off ourselves so that we can fix the timeline.
Right.
Like, are we going to unpack? No.
Like,
we, one thing that actually I did think was funny was while this is all playing out, Allison and Klaus and Luther are on the couch, and Luther's like eating popcorn, and they're both just like, they're all into this shit.
Right.
And then like the camera pans over to them, and they're all just like so into it. And Fives is like, yeah, well, I think that we need to do this, and then they're all like, wait, what?
Yeah.
No. Go back to that. And they were the surrogate for the audience right there. We were like, oh, okay, this shit's about to play out. Like, the other shoe's about to drop. Nah, we got to wrap this shit up, B. We got to get out of here.
Let me ask you this. Do you think this show would have benefited from having more episodes?
I mean...
It's a double-edged sword, dog.
Yeah, like, if they have more episodes, that means I have to sit through more episodes. And the idea that the people who wrote 6 hours of incompetent TV were going to write 10 hours of a mixed bag or better, I don't like those odds. I like the odds of your Amazon show being good more than that. I like the odds of season 2 of Rings of Power being good over that.
God damn. Okay.
This show made me want to go watch Rings of Power.
Dog.
This show made me want to go watch season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Stop. That is slander beyond slander.
Bro, this show is horrible. Like as a show, like, I would say if I had to score the entirety of Umbrella Academy, whatever I would have scored it at the end of season 3, Season 4 drops that shit probably 3 whole number like it's
Shit.
It's one of the worst things I've ever watched. I really hated every moment of it, with very few exceptions.
Well, all right. Let's talk about the finish here.
Yeah, they don't remember the finish.
I remember which is for them is also not good.
No.
Yeah. So the finish of this show sees them. Well, first we get 5, who goes to the citadel of 5.
That's good. See, that's funnier than everything in this season.
And it's there that there's fortunately a random 5 there who chooses to invite our 5 over to sit down and exposit.
Yeah.
And he exposits, and then 5 immediately goes and does the thing that no other 5 could do.
Right. He just immediately figures out exactly what has to happen to like save the timeline, and none of the other 5s in that deli had ever thought of this.
Yeah, none of them. Not even Brisket 5.
I kind of like Newspaper 5. I'm not gonna lie.
This really was their attempt at Rick and Morty.
Yeah, and it was about as good as their like musical montage. I also love the fact that like as they go through this show, you keep seeing where they're like, oh, well, we have to do another one of these. Mm-hmm. Oh, we got to do a dance number. We have to do a montage. Mm-hmm. We have to do some Klaus shenanigans. Well, I guess we got to throw in some Claire drama in there somewhere. We haven't had them exposit about their daddy issues, so let's have them go visit Hargreaves. And I know everybody was all in different places, but like let's have them all end up at the house. Mm-hmm. And I know this is supposed to be a different Hargreaves, but I thought that whole thing was kind of just really poorly done too, because he is not that Hargreaves when he needs to not be, and then everything else for the plot is completely contrived. He just is Hargreaves when he needs to be Hargreaves.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, hell, even to the point where the characters treat it like that, you know?
And the wife's plot makes no sense at all.
Especially when you consider we're at the end when she's telling Hargreaves about all the things she's done. He's like, you did this, and then she exposits, and he's like, I'm glad you did this. And I'm like, if this was the case, you could have just had this conversation.
And she's like, oh, I fixed it. And I'm like, you did?
Right.
Like, so because her whole thing was like that she shouldn't be there, right? Mm-hmm. That he never should have came to this world and went through everything he did to recreate her. But like, if that's the case, like, wouldn't you just delete yourself and not this entire planet?
Yeah.
Because neither one of them understood the whole timeline crisis. If they did, they never said anything about it. And if someone was going to understand it, like, if Hargreaves knew that would fix the timeline, he would have killed all 7 of them forever ago. He'd have been like,
yeah. If that's all I got to do, he would have rounded them up so he can kill them.
Yeah. You know? That's all I got to do? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Would have been easy for him.
He would have got them in there in his fucking MetaQuest 4 room for the bin thing, and he would just fill that shit up with acid or whatever.
Right. He's a humane guy when he needs to be. It would have been some kind of nerve gash or something. You know?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. But, man, yeah. So, I do agree with what you said earlier. The ending is, as a concept, right, them realizing that the only way to save everything is to sacrifice themselves. The ending itself, many blessings. The ending itself is sound in concept, but man, in execution, it just felt so flat because they just do it. You know, they just stand there, they hold hands and let Cleanse overtake them, and then we pan over to Earth Prime. And everything is as good as day, and we see like 7 flowers pop up.
Man, they did play the song.
What song?
The "Think We're Alone Now" from the first season. From the dance number.
Okay, yeah.
They did play that at the end. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about this secret, the sacred timeline. Mm-hmm. I did like all the cameos, like of all the previous characters they brought back. We get to see Hazel and the waitress and all that.
That was cool.
But the parallels with season 8 of Game of Thrones are immense, right? Mm-hmm. But at least in season 8 of Game of Thrones, we had all these like moments that had kind of been built up through the show, and we got to see a lot of those moments. We actually got to see the Clegane Bowl. Yeah. We actually got to see, Brienne get knighted. Mm-hmm. We got to see Arya and Gendry fucking. Yeah. I actually don't know that we ever had that on our bucket list.
I don't know. There's some people probably did.
Some people probably did,
wanting to see Christian Bale looking like fuck Arya.
Yeah, Rule 34, whatever. Yeah. But this show really didn't have those, because the only major unresolved stuff is all Hargreaves' daddy drama, right? Mm-hmm. Which worked earlier on in the show, but like there's never any progress or resolution on that. It's always just, oh, dad is a complete dickbag.
I think the show also suffered from not having a clear physical antagonist.
Right.
Because in the end, they just hold hands and, and that saves the day. And I mean, hell, like that could go back to, I think they also realized that they squandered the Sparrow Academy season 3.
Yeah.
Because like that had so much potential. But hell, you forget about them by the time season 4 rolls around.
Also, I want to know how long it was going to take the cleanse to kill everybody.
It's a good question. All right, was it going to continue to get bigger?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. But even then, like, even if it got to like fucking, ultra mega Godzilla size, mm-hmm. like, it was going to take a while. The thing was slow. It
was very slow. I guess it depends on how long does it take for it to grow, and like,
can it eventually just get to like a planet killer size and just like delete the planet?
Right. But then what happens to
it? I guess it just suffocates.
Okay. It gets too big for Earth's
Or does it just go through the universe?
The universe, yeah.
It's just a universe eater. It just becomes fucking Galactus.
Yeah, it becomes Galactus.
Just a weird Cronenberg Galactus.
It becomes Galactus from the second Fantastic Four movie. Yeah.
No, it's Galactus from the Cronenberg universe.
Oh yeah, because it is very Cronenberg-esque. Yeah, for sure.
Did you see on Ben the little baby hands that he was growing out of his arms?
Like, why?
Also, the CG was terrible.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I almost forgot. This was the worst the CG has ever looked in this show.
Like, it had me pining for the Secret Invasion CG fight.
By comparison, the Secret Invasion fight was fucking Thor, Cap, and Iron Man versus Thanos.
Yeah, yeah, it really was.
I might watch She-Hulk twerking on loop before I watch the CG in this show.
I thought the She-Hulk twerking was hilarious. Actually, I was never offended by that, but I also saw how mad the internet got about it, and internet fanboys being upset tends to bring me joy. So.
No, the thing that always made me laugh the most, right? It was after Kevin and I think we did like a She-Hulk review or something like that.
You got Kevin to watch She-Hulk?
Well, he saw some of it when I was watching it.
Oh, okay. I was like, you got him to sit down and watch that?
And I was so mad because he didn't say this on mic. For those who don't know, Kevin says some of his funniest shit off mic, and he doesn't mean it to be funny. And that makes it even funnier. But we had just gotten done recording, like literally hit the record button to be done. And he still has some thoughts in his mind. It's like, man, and I can't believe that Marvel they fucked up doing this and doing that and blah blah blah. And then we just got some giant twerk monster and and that's like, what? I've never heard her described as a giant twerk monster. And that shit just had me dying. But he was so fucking serious and adamant, and that just made it even better. But yeah, it was never it's never the twerk that upset me. It's everything around it, and it's like
Yeah.
like you can't expect me to like enjoy this scene when everything else is just awful.
I would sit through She-Hulk again before I would watch this season of Umbrella Academy all day, every day. Because there were at least moments in She-Hulk that I liked.
I think I'd polish a bottle of peroxide before I did any of that.
She-Hulk was, I think, number 50 in our MCU ranking.
That shit got low.
Yeah.
That shit got low.
It was not the bottom.
It was not the bottom.
But it was close.
Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, the bottom gets bottomer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it actually failed at failing because Ant-Man 2 failed the hardest. Mm-hmm. It at least succeeded at epic fail.
Yeah.
So,
which rightfully so. By the way, spoiler alert, that's our worst pick. If you haven't seen,
it was terrible.
Yeah.
Go check out the rankings. Mm-hmm. It's official.
I'm curious to know with Umbrella Academy, did it even have the same group of writers from previous seasons?
It'd be interesting to look, right? It doesn't feel in any way like it's the same show. It almost you ever seen the season of Community that was released on Yahoo?
Oh yeah.
It kind of feels like that, doesn't it?
It does.
It's like this is just like 80% of the show you liked.
Yeah.
There's just something wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's just like it looks kind of like the show you liked and it has the actors in it, but it's not quite the show you liked.
It's like that, but much, much worse.
Yeah.
And I kept waiting for the show to pick up or to have like some solid sense of direction, but really, the plot is nothing until episode 3. Like half this season, it takes for you to figure out what the fuck is even happening this season.
Yeah, and it's only 6 episodes.
And it's only 6 episodes. I can't get jiggy with that.
No, I can't get jiggy with any of this shit.
Yeah. So, out of all the shows that Netflix has been notoriously known for cutting early, and there's a litany of shows that you could go through.
Why couldn't they have done it with this one?
Yeah. Why couldn't they have canceled this one early?
They made another fucking season of House of Cards.
Yeah. Granted, a certain somebody may not have been in it.
Right. Yeah.
But still, they did it.
I never sat through that last season of House of Cards. I tried. I couldn't do it. I didn't feel like there was a point anymore.
With no Frank.
Yeah, it would be almost like well, I'll be honest, like Secession is kind of a nothing burger like that too. And they wrote it that way, like nothing happened. Like Brian Cox is still alive. Like they just intentionally wrote it that way.
Yeah, it's been, this season for me was weird, right? It was truly a fever dream of sorts.
Those are words you could say.
Yeah. I mean, because think about it, right? In a dream, nothing makes sense, but in the moment of the dream, it's like, I understand what's going on. And then you wake up and you're like, that didn't make any fucking sense.
So Kay was watching the last 3 or so episodes with me yesterday. And she's only ever seen the first episode of season 1. That's all of Umbrella Academy she's ever seen. She was watching it with me, and something would happen, and she would look over, and I would just be shaking my head. And she'd be like, this is awful. And I'd be like, yeah. I was like, believe it or not, though, this was a great show at one point.
Yeah. It's hard to believe looking at this season.
It is hard to believe. I was like, this show used to be tremendous.
So let me ask you this. Based on the quality of the first 3 seasons, would you recommend this show to somebody?
I would tell people what I tell people about Game of Thrones. I tell them, listen, you watch the first 6 seasons. Fantastic. When you get to the end of season 6, you make up your own ending from there. And then I'm like, if you just absolutely have to watch more, then you watch season 7 and then you make up your own ending. But for no reason whatsoever do you watch season 8. You will be insanely disappointed.
Those are wise words.
Yeah, and so I think with this show, the best I would do, I would absolutely recommend somebody to watch seasons 1, 2, and 3, and then stop. I'd be like, under no circumstances should you watch season 4. Like, you're not going to get anything out of it, right? Like, if I had gotten the news 6 weeks ago that Umbrella Academy had been canceled, I would not be as upset as I am right now.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because the characters, the show, everything deserved immensely better than this. This is one of the worst seasons of television I've ever seen. I like all the seasons of Heroes more than this. Like...
the thing of it is, right, it's like they have the audacity to like have all of the negative qualities in this show with none of the upside. So normally there's give and take with shit like this. Like normally if a season of television is shorter, that means that the pacing is better and the story is more concise.
Right.
This has a shorter season with the sloppiest plot that doesn't make any sense. And the pacing of the show, because the plot is so bad, the pacing also doesn't line up with anything.
Yeah, the pacing never felt good at all, to be honest with you. Like,
because there's no groove to this show, to this season.
Well, there's no anticipation because they never set anything up.
Right.
Like, it's like, okay, I guess you could explain to me what the cleanse is, but like nothing else that you've talked about has been fulfilling. So I bet that I'm not going to like that answer either. And then when you do find out what it is, you're like, yep, sure don't like it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't think there's really, like, this show has always been known for their very creative kind of action scenes. Other than that one scene, the one where we kind of get introduced to everybody's new powers, you know, with the I-beams and Diego doing the bullet ballerina shit and, like Allison being able to Bran Stark people.
Yeah.
Other than that those like couple of scenes, I don't think there was any good action really in this.
No, you're right. That was the only really good action scene.
I mean, you compare that to the episode 1 diner fight.
Oh yeah,
incredible scene.
Or was it episode or season 2 where we got 5 versus Lila?
Yeah,
remember that scene?
That was incredible.
God damn.
Yeah,
and compare that to what we get this season. Question: how did they get that guy that plays Falcon look the exact same goddamn age?
Well, they put the mustache on him. He looked like 10 years older immediately.
Did he? Because to me, it was just like a fake mustache.
Like a 15-year-old with a mustache on?
Yeah.
That's kind of what Diego looked like to me. Diego looked horrible in this.
Yeah,
like,
he did.
Like, I don't know what happened to the actor. Actually, all of them. Like, Diego looks 20 years older.
Mm-hmm. The mustache with no other facial hair really did that to him.
Yeah.
And they put him in like not a fat suit, but a pudgy suit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He looked awful, man. Yeah. Who's the guy that's in Blue Beetle? The comedian.
Not Mencia. Fucking
that's
Lopez.
Yeah.
George Lopez.
He looks like George Lopez.
God damn, dog. Shit.
And then like Luther looked awful too. Like,
you think so? I thought he looked the best.
He lost a lot of weight, and so like he looked kind of normal when he didn't have his powers. Mm-hmm. But then when he like transformed again and like he was all bulked up, but his face was still skinny, that shit bothered me. I had to stop looking at him. Allison kind of looked like the Starfire from from the Titans? the Titans TV show. She looked awful, but I thought that was like intentional. Mm-hmm. Klaus is about the same.
Yeah, Klaus is about the same.
They gave Victor a weird fucking Wolverine kind of backstory, like he like retired and moved to Canada.
Yeah, moved to Canada in a bar.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like,
I didn't think about that.
Is this a subtle wink? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this is the most Logan bullshit
right.
I've ever seen.
It kind of is. Ain't
Is she going to pull out some claws in a minute as part of her new powers?
He was all grumpy, like, oh, leave me alone. I was like, could be.
I don't want to come to the family reunion.
Yeah. He could have played Short King Logan.
Yeah. I got on this suit, damn it. That means I'm an X-Man. Oh, yeah, hey, we've seen the movies. We believe you.
Right. Oh, shit. Yeah. Am I the only one who was expecting to see Hargreaves do anything?
Anything? They just kind of left the whole him being like an alien plot.
Right.
Because isn't like he just like a little guy like piloting a suit, basically?
We really don't see much of it. That him being an alien is based off of one panel in the opening chapter.
Well, I mean, in I think season 2, like they actually show like his head open up.
Oh yeah,
like
they do. Yeah, they go way into that in the show. In the comic book, Gerard was just having fucking fun.
Well, in the show, they just drop it.
Yeah, but because they just drop it like that, I thought that it was gonna go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and it really doesn't.
And nothing went anywhere.
Nothing went anywhere.
If you guys haven't picked up on it, we didn't like this at all.
Yeah, there's a reason why we haven't mentioned like the good from this season. It's not a whole lot to be had here. I really need these showrunners and these networks and whatnot to stop putting out shit just because they feel obligated to.
I've been racking my brain all day to think of like what I would say that's good about this season, and I haven't come up with much.
Yeah, yeah. It's like hell. Even with the Marvels, I was like, this shit is short. Like, love the hell out of this runtime.
That at least had a great fight scene.
And it did have one great. It had a great turn your brain off fight scene. Don't think about it, and it was entertaining as hell. Eternals had good visuals.
Yeah, yeah. And they had a aborted Celestial.
And they had an aborted, and that it had Marvel Disney's first appearance of Adamantium, I guess.
Yeah, and they also Thanos' brother showed up or whatever.
$20, that motherfucker never shows up again.
Never gonna see that shit again. Or his little Star Fox buddy or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Pip the troll. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're fucking done. Get the fuck out of here, Pip.
Yeah, there's so many like MCU plot threads.
Are we gonna see Hercules again?
I fucking hope not. Because that Hercules was bullshit.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I want them to go to Sony and just pay whatever amount of money, and I want a Thor versus Kratos movie.
Ooh. Ooh.
Please.
It depends on from which movie is Kratos fighting? Like, is he fighting Thor from Love and Thunder? Is he fighting Thor? Because he beats Thor from Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Is he fighting Thor from Infinity War? He might not beat that Thor.
Yeah, he might not beat that Thor. Nah, he's fighting Ragnarok Thor, bro. That's the strongest Thor there is. He beats the Hulk with no hammer.
He fucking does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
They never really explained that shit either.
Although, I'll be honest, like, the most powerful Thor is honestly the end of Infinity War when he first gets Stormbreaker.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he came out there and he wrecked everyone, Thanos included.
Yeah. And I love Infinity War, but I always raised an eyebrow to this. I get Stormbreaker's powerful. How the fuck did it cut through the Infinity Beam? Like,
yeah,
y'all gotta, like, I would have loved had it like subverted the beam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nah, that shit just Thanos was like, the fuck.
Yeah, like this thing rewrites reality.
Right.
I don't think you could do that. I know you're hacking.
Could have made that hammer into anything.
Yeah.
And instead he made it into a necklace.
E3 put some like anti-Thanos dust in that bitch.
He peed on it a little bit. I don't know how he does that because his hands are like, you know.
Yeah.
What the fuck else do you want to say about Umbrella Academy?
I got nothing, man. Listen, if you've listened to this, we're 90 minutes into this thing. If you somehow just thought I'll just listen to this and see if I should watch the show. At this point, if you're still thinking about watching it, just go watch it. Just go watch it.
You know, I recommend watching the first 3 seasons.
Yes. But do not watch season 4.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Watch the first 3 seasons. Pick up the comic books. Read those 3 books. And then, you know, you just be like, oh, man, I can't wait till book 4 comes out so I can see how it ends. You know what I mean? And just, you know, just let that be your reality for Umbrella Academy. Because with this show, I can't believe they were so sloppy and so reckless with something that so many people loved. You know how hard it is to get a comic book property that isn't Marvel or DC off the ground and to hit this big?
It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, even Kick-Ass couldn't do it.
Right.
The Boys is probably the only other thing that's really been able to pull it off.
The Boys and Invincible.
Oh, yes.
That's about it. Kingsman had a brief, you know, stint, but it couldn't do it.
I always thought it was interesting, right? Because I really love 2 of the Kingsman movies. The second was just okay, but the original and the prequel I thought were both quite good.
I haven't seen the prequel.
Oh, it's good, man. You'll love it. It has a fucking at least it has a couple, but there's one action scene in particular that is it's not as good as the church scene, but it's also not trying to be.
Yeah.
Because they shouldn't chase that shit.
Agreed.
And if they try, they're gonna fail.
Yeah.
So they have a really badass action scene in the prequel. I enjoyed it significantly more than the second movie.
I gotta check that one out. Anyway, all those are better than what happened with Umbrella Academy. I just wish they had taken more care with this show because this show deserves it. I mean, even though, like, to me, season 3 was kind of the weak link at the time, I still enjoyed season 3, just not as much as the first 2. And I was hoping for a strong finish. And when I heard that they were doing 6 episodes, in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, man, they're keeping this thing tight and it's going to be to the point and the pacing is going to mesh well with the story they're telling. And this thing is just going to be fucking great. And instead, we got, like, in total, maybe 5 hours of nothingness. We got 5 hours of me being entertained by Megan and Nick Offerman.
Do we want to score this thing?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, sure.
You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Oh man, not again. Listen, I intend this to be the lowest score I give out on the podcast this year. And the rest of this year is going to include things such as Agatha All Along, Venom 3, Craven the
Animal rights
activist. I'm going to be honest with you. Out of all the things I'm going to name on this list, I guarantee you that's going to get the highest score. And the Crow remake.
Ooh.
And I'll be honest with you folks. We're going to review that on Friday. I've never seen the original movie. And I still don't think this looks good. And I'm specifically not going to watch it before I watch this one so that I am not biased based on the original's quality. That being said, Umbrella Academy Season 4 is one of the worst things I have ever seen. I thought that it was absolute nonsense. I watched all of the seasons of Bridgerton this year, including the prequel. Bridgerton is not even in my, sphere of things that I would like. I watched it because a bunch of people that live in my house like it. I enjoyed every second of that show more than I did any part of this season. I cannot advise you enough not to watch this season of this show that was once unique, different, inventive, clever. It is none of those things any longer. It keeps retreading its own. It either retreads its own path to a much lesser extent, or it tries random, outdated pop culture references. It brutally fails at both. I am going to give this season a 2.5 out of 10. The only thing I have rated lower is the original Dune movie, the 1984 Dune.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot more I can say after that scathing dressing down of a television show.
You're welcome. This is why you invited me here.
Yeah. If I had to describe this season with one word, for me, it'd be disappointing. And I mean that in like the literal sense. I am disappointed by this show. I'm let down. This show let me down, man. This season let me down. Because I know how good this show can be, because I've seen how good it can be. And the fact that they seemingly didn't even try to stick the landing, it hurt my feelings. And this show, for so many years, it held a pretty special place in my heart. You got to remember, I think this show came out in, 2018 or 19, and this was around the time that a bunch of superhero shows that, again, weren't Marvel or DC were really getting noticed. This is when we were getting The Boys. This is when we were getting Invincible, and things of that nature. And then there was also Umbrella Academy that was held in the same kind of regard. Look at season 1 of Invincible. Look at like season 1 or 2 of The Boys, and then look at like season 1 and 2 of Umbrella Academy. It was holding its own up there in terms of quality.
In a landscape where there was superhero everything.
Yes.
You got to think Marvel, DC releasing multiple projects every year.
Yep.
You have Fox still at the time, because I think New Mutants came out in 2019.
Yep.
So Fox was still kicking. They weren't putting out anything good, but they were still kicking. Sony, market was incredibly saturated, way more than it is today with superhero content.
Yeah. And they still managed to stand out.
Yeah. In a good way.
In a good way. Yeah. So it was incredible what they had done with this, fairly obscure Dark Horse book that until then just kind of had like a small kind of cult following. And look at what they've done with it. We get to season 4 and it's just nothing but 6 episodes of a letdown. It doesn't matter who your favorite character was. I guarantee you this season they let you down. It doesn't matter what you thought of the story or what your expectations were. I guarantee it let you down. Doesn't matter what your thoughts were about the previous action scenes. I guarantee you were let down in this season. In every aspect, this show let me down. And I know I'm not the only one. The internet has not been quiet about this.
And, I mean, even Nick Offerman's wasted, right? I mean...
Yeah. How do you waste Nick Offerman?
It's like the worst Nick Offerman work.
And I admit, I still kind of enjoy what he,
Just because it's him, though.
Just because it's him. Yeah. Him and his wife always work well together. You remember seeing them in Parks and Rec? Like, that shit was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with all that being said... Because I am nothing if not a merciful homie supremer, I give this show a 3 out of 10. So there you have it. If you combine our scores together, I think we get what I gave the Marvels. so let that speak for what I think of this season. This show hurt my feelings, man.
Yeah, it was... Listen, if you still think you want to watch season 4 of this, there's nothing else we could tell you to stop you. We tried. We tried to save you. We endured this so that you did not have to. So never let it be said that we do not care immensely about the homies.
Exactly.
I feel like I almost know what you went through when you watched Batwoman.
Oh. Oh my goodness. With Batwoman, it really wasn't as bad though, because I went into Batwoman bracing for impact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is like something we used to like.
Yeah.
Although there at least weren't 22 episodes of
Oh my god.
I wouldn't have made it. About episode 5 or so, I'd have been like, I can't. I'm sorry.
It was rough. Yeah. That shit was so hard. Yeah, I can never do that again. Yeah. I don't know why I did it in the first place. I did it for you homies. I mean, and I know that all you guys like, we weren't going to watch it anyway.
But you guys might have accidentally watched this shit, so we are saving you. Please don't watch it.
Man, now would be the perfect time, even if it's not done, it'd be the perfect time for Marvel to drop Agatha All Along.
Yeah.
I'd be like, this is like a 10 out of 10.
yeah, at least an 8,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, man, that show doesn't look awful. Like, it doesn't look like it's going to be my thing. But, here's the only thing I want out of that show. Don't insult my intelligence. Like, if it's like I could turn my brain off and enjoy it, that's fine. Don't shit on any famous MCU characters. Don't change any MCU lore to break the rules of existing stuff. Don't make any Ralph Boner references. That's it. If you do those 3 things, you get at least a 6.
I'm going to pick on Marvel because they've done this most recently, but this is just something for entertainment in general. I'm going to need both the fandoms and the people making this stuff stop turning your likable heels into good guys.
No, please.
Please, stop it. Stop it.
It's terrible.
It is.
Stop making them the stars of their own shows. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody ever had any problem selling Joker merch.
Right. Yeah. That's a great point.
Just sell the merch.
Yeah. Yeah. It works because she was such a likable shitheel in the WandaVision show.
Right.
And she knew something that Wanda and us as the viewers didn't know. But it's like I still don't see the need for Agatha. What are they calling it? House of Harkness?
No, it's Agatha All Along.
Is that really the name of it?
Yeah.
I thought we were making jokes this whole time.
No, they really named it after the song. It was a fucking TikTok filter, bro. Like, and don't get me wrong, like, I like Catherine Hahn.
Same.
She did a number on the Tonight Show recently where she sang the Infinity Saga, and it was pretty funny. It was pretty good, but like, they're just like, oh, people like this character, let's give them a show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I mean, is that how that works? Because people really like Bucky, and he didn't get a show. You guys put him in the show.
He cameoed in the show.
Yeah. Maybe, I mean, shit, before he was a Skrull, we really liked Rhodey. Right. He doesn't get a show.
Right.
Like, can we do something here?
He's going to be featured in the show that probably no one will watch.
Yeah.
We
really liked Sif. She could have got a show.
And they fucking killed her.
Yeah, the only person that Gore actually killed.
Yeah, like, this is bullshit.
That's why they could still do Kratos, man, because, like, Gore didn't kill any guys.
Yeah, Gore didn't kill any fucking guy.
Gore, the child kidnapper. Anyway, we don't have to go.
Yeah.
We don't have to go into that.
Yeah, we don't have to go.
Watching this show was not fun, but reviewing it was. So
and that is always the case. That is always the case here. This has been a blast, man. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I guarantee that you enjoyed this more than the show. And I just think about like the horse meme that they have for this.
Yeah,
show.
I've seen that going around.
Yeah, and man, it is accurate as fuck.
Yeah,
I just can't wrap my mind around it. They clearly didn't try, and I can't get over that.
It's the A Quest for Peace of Umbrella Academy.
Yeah. It really is.
It is the Batman and Robin. Actually, I take that back. I would watch Batman and Robin in a fucking heartbeat over this show. At
least Batman and Robin is like laughably bad,
And there's some parts of that movie that I enjoy. I mean, just from a they made this joke, I like the Mr. Freeze puns. I like the ice puns.
All right, homie. So that's going to be it for this episode.
What killed the dinosaurs?
I'm turning your mic off. Fuck you. This is why we haven't gotten Freeze again, because Okay.
Because Matthew McConaughey's not
Oh
available.
my
very,
fucking god!
he's very busy. He has a very busy schedule.
That's gonna be all for now, homies. Before I lose my goddamn cool, I hope you guys enjoyed this review more than we enjoyed watching it.
Yes, that is the goal.
But that's gonna be all for now. But homies, don't worry, because we will see you guys again very soon. As a matter of fact, I think that our Crow review is gonna drop before this.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
So, cheers to you guys from the future. Really quick before we wrap up, since this is coming out after The Crow for most listeners, what'd you rate The Crow?
I don't know yet. That's not how time travel works.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Take a guess.
My prediction 6.5.
I was thinking the 6.7. So we're close. We'll see. It could be right on the money, could be not. We're gonna see.
We gonna see.
But until next time, homies, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm superhero homie Caleb.
Umbrella Academy and the homies are signing off.